Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Diablo 3. Last episode we wrapped up the subquests looking for the sword, and of course we witnessed the demise of Deckard Cain. So this episode we're gonna take vengeance. But before that, let's have a quick look. I picked up a ability called Dark Reaping in the last episode, and I was really enthusiastic about it because I really liked the art and the idea of it. But I forgot to think about one thing, and that is that I'm not using a scythe right now. I'm in fact using an axe, and I've been using swords and I've been using staves, but I've been using everything except for scythes. And the reason for that is that for two-handed scythes there are just no good options. We have a level 5, we have a level 26, and then we have a level 60 and a level 70. But in between there are just no good scythes. So that means that something like a two-handed sword, it has just about every 4 or 5 levels there is a new kind of scythe that you can pick up and use, or a new sword to use. And it's the same for the other two-handed weapons. The axes have a boatload, the staves have a boatload of options. So while leveling, use one of the generic weapon types if you're going two-handers, and then in the end game, of course, you can pick up a level 70 scythe or a level 60 scythe, and use that in the later parts of the game. But while leveling, just pick something else and ignore the, what was it, Dark Reaping? Yes, the Dark Reaping skill, because it's not gonna help you. So, with that said, let's move forward to the WORTHAM Chapel cellar. Of course, I upgraded my gear a little bit again, so our damage currently 1582, toughness 31,000, recovery a bit on the lower end, it's about 8% or so for toughness. Would prefer that to be slightly higher. But so our raw health pool is 12,000, so not doing too bad. I do like the blood rush for just moving about a little quicker. Oh look, it's a scythe. That actually doesn't do truly bad damage, but it's still much lower than what we currently do. Ew, spiders. Icky spiders. We're continuing with the build that we left off with last time. We summon corpses, we devour them, we increase our max health, and we become sturdier as a result. So they only pop open after we move past, so you always have an ambush sort of situation going on. Haha, actually managed to curse some things. So the skeletal mages, I like them. They are a bit fuzzy because you have to keep summoning them.
This does not bode well.
And I think without the ring that we're using to summon 2 at a time, it's much more annoying to play the skill than with the ring. So you could almost argue that the ring is a core part of the skill that would actually make it usable. But according to some of the Reddit discussions and people referring what the devs have said on the topic, mind you, I haven't actually read the things that the devs have stated because it's unattributed references, but things have popped up enough that I think there's a truth to them. And that is that apparently this is the design that the devs were going for. They wanted a very active necromancer. They did not want a passive necromancer where your army did all the work and you were just a innocent bystander. And as such, the Skeletal Mage design is basically in line with what they wanted, in that it is a temporary pet. Or it's almost like a skill that just moves along with you for effect, rather than just being a permanent pet that just does their thing. Now with the, what was it called again, the Circle of Nalusival, the Skeletal Mages are nice, but I can imagine if you don't have the ring that it is just a annoying skill because you can't max it and you're missing out on the DPS potential and things like that. And for me, but you just hold the mouse button a couple seconds and I got somewhere between 6 and 10 of the mages up and running. And that makes it nice, because it is a powerful skill, especially if you got an army of skeletal mages. They do a lot of damage. They do much more damage than your regular skeletons. Also, we gained a level, didn't we? Yeah. So let's have a look. What did we gain? Corpse Lance gained Ricochet. Corpse Lance is a 20% chance to ricochet to one additional target, and it turns into poison. It's been a while since we used Corpse Lance, so let's actually pick that up. We have Army of the Dead, which gains Death Valley. The skeletal army knocks all affected enemies towards the center. Well, it's a 2-minute cooldown, so this is a skill I'm not gonna end up using. Also, I noticed we have Land of the Dead over here, another 2-minute cooldown skill. Or corpse skills can be used at will for 10 seconds. Okay. So that is if you fill your bar up with all the corpse skills, then you can use them, but it has a 2-minute cooldown, so that's a little iffy.
Even the hearts of men.
Blood Rush gained its first rune, Potency. Increase your armor by 100% for 2 seconds after casting. So you give up 5% of your health, you teleport, and you gain armor. That is a win-win situation. I like it. Okay, we no longer have a defensive bonus, so we have to be a little cautious here, though. Of course, the Decrypify does count as a defensive bonus. I require a corpse for that. And with the skeletal mages, we do have plenty of offensive power, but also something that could serve as a bit of a meat shield if we need it.
I require a corpse for that.
Just trying to actually use the new bone spikes, but I'm just lacking the corpses right now. Yeah. Okay. We'll just need larger groups of enemies in order to see what it is truly about.
I must have a corpse.
Okay. Oh, also, let's remember to cast the Decrypify, and they're frozen. Okay, frozen kills minions like it's not funny anymore.
A corpse for that.
Oh, what was the 20% chance to ricochet? Okay. That is not a lot, so you need a lot of corpses,
I must
basically.
have a corpse.
Just standing outside of the area. With the orbiters, it makes it a bit more difficult to see what's happening. But luckily, we made it. And we gained bracers. What do they do? Don't recognize these. Warakian Arm Guards. The legendary bonus: every time you destroy a wreckable object, you gain a short burst of speed. So instead of only gaining it when you get a streak, you always gain it for a short burst. Okay, that is interesting and funny, but not something that by itself would compel me to use it like the Circle of Nalusival. Physical skills deal 7% more damage. That is nice, because most of our skills are physical at this point. Increase to int and vitality, and we lose our life regen, but we gain a crit chance and increased health and gold pickup radius. So will equip it, but giving up the health regen probably will mean I'll switch back to it. But for now, let's have a quick look.
Now we fight.
Okay, that was a short burst of speed indeed for just wrecking something.
No. I need a corpse.
I only cast it once, stop complaining. I haven't been away from the game for a while. Definitely makes it a bit more difficult to efficiently navigate through some of these areas in the game here. On the other hand, efficiency is not always the goal. It's good enough to just enjoy the journey.
I used to be one of them, ordinary, untouched, until her voice came to me. Then I knew how I must serve. I must kill the one who threatens my mistress and the dark power that created her. I have been chosen.
Okay, so regular small skeletons or small spiders.
Essence. I'm afraid not.
It's pretty easy to just generate corpses. Okay, something here is a yellow. That is the boss itself. I do like the skill design of the Frozen. It gives you ample time to get away. Which, if I remember correctly, is a design that did evolve over time, because it didn't start out that way. It definitely didn't start out that way. It used to be much faster, much less forgiving.
I'm afraid not.
Cocoon Victim doesn't count as a wreckable. It's just a chest in disguise.
No.
I do think that the corpse interaction mechanic, and specifically for the corpse lance, it's the first mechanic that really makes me wanna have an option where I can disable the voice cues of my own character in reaction to it, because you definitely keep triggering it, because you don't want to scan the entire screen plus the whole part of off-screen in order to see if is there a corpse before casting it. Sometimes you end up casting it when you don't actually have a corpse available. Okay, let's do this. Kill 100 enemies. So let's get our army of things up. Also, let's regain some essence, just to max out our army of mages. And keep refreshing them.
No.
Okay, this is definitely a nice hectic build to go for.
All must serve the cycle. No.
And there's plenty of corpses, so we can actually just explode those. But the balance between more, yes. Okay, we killed 142. We can open.
I'm unable to get it open.
Enemies. I need enemies. Yes. Okay, good. We gain the bonus. Killed 131 before the timer expired. That's pretty darn nice. But as I was saying, the balance between, on the one hand, getting enough essence via your primary attack in order to keep your army of skeletal mages up, that's an interesting challenge. I mean, they last for 6 seconds plus another 4, and then another 25%, so presumably that's 12.5 seconds. I cast 2 per cast, so max 10. That means I need 200 essence every 12.5 seconds. So yeah, that definitely just keeps you casting. And in the meantime, no, they generate corpses. Killing enemies generate corpses, so you're also trying to use corpse lance in the process, which means, yeah, actually I have to be actively focused on targets. If instead you're going with a Devour in order to increase your max life, then it's much easier, because then you just press it every once in a while to just top up your bonus, and you just gain a massive defensive advantage. Which, with Corpse Lance, it's more difficult. So, interesting trade-offs there. We did gain a level, and we did gain some new runes. So let's have a look at that. Power shifts. Damage is increased by 10% each time damage is dealt. Max 10 stacks. So instead of slowing enemies, we increase damage. So if you're just channeling, that is pretty cool. Also, it doesn't specify a duration, does it? I'm curious to see what that's gonna do. Death Nova gain a new rune. Blight. Leave a lingering patch of blight on the ground, slowing enemies by 60% and causing them to deal 15% less damage for 1 second. Okay, so how long does the... Okay, so that really is just for 1 second, so if you keep chaining it, then the blight remains. So if you do this, then of course generating essence is difficult, because you want to be channeling essence and then casting it, essence, casting it, essence, casting it, but you will be draining it. So then you probably want a different essence generator. Maybe something like the Grim Scythe, if you surround yourself with enemies, because it generates 12 essence per enemy you hit. So if you get yourself surrounded, it's easy to, in a single swing, to maybe hit like 4 or 5 foes. That gets you 48 or 60 essence per hit, which allows you to then cast the Death Nova a couple more times. On the other hand, the Devour gives you essence per corpse. So if you keep killing things, you get essences, and then Death Nova can fuel that. So let's see how the interactions work here, if you can actually make it work. Not having any mages or revive minions active, let's change out of Extended Servitude into something different. We will be... Yeah, Life from Death is probably a good generic one to fall back to. Oh, more health globes means better chance of staying alive. See, we get some item drops. This is a clear upgrade. Nice, I like it. Here it is a little less clear, so we'll just stick with what we've got. And as I mentioned, the Borzekian Arm Guards, without life regen, it is basically just worse than what we've got. So we'll just swap it out again, and we'll move forward. Let's look for the Spider Queen.
My mistress has accepted me. Come close and feel her loving embrace.
That sounds fun.
That was not going to... I need essence.
Okay, the 10% damage bonus of a Siphon Blood has a nice indicator bar. So 1, 2, about 3 seconds that it stays up, and it refreshes every time you hit. So it does give you opportunity to just swap in and out. Presumably the damage bonus only applies to itself and not to other skills, but it is nice having your primary attack boosted a little bit.
Our just reward!
Though interestingly, of course, if we're not using the mages, which are a powerful source of corpses, we'll see how long we can keep this up. Hello?
Please help me. It's horrible. She sucks the innards from her victims. Oh, no. No, it's too late. I hear her. The Spider Queen is coming.
Spider Queen?
They all react so surprised. Okay, let's curse you. Oh, sick the minions on you. That also helps. And definitely have to keep in mind that you don't chain cast your Death Nova too much, otherwise you will lose your damage bonus. And the time period in between spawning or with her disappearing and minions spawning is enough to make the bonus disappear. So it really is meant to just only apply if you're more or less consistently attacking a single target. Okay, we'll stick the thing on her again. Also remember to curse you. Okay, 1, 2, and then channel. 1, 2, and channel, and then she's gone. So you definitely, once again, have a completely different playstyle from what I was doing before. And that, so far, I do like it. Oh, also interesting detail. The skeletons, they were actually focused on the Spider Queen, even though the Spider Queen was not in the arena. So you will have to refocus your minions, because otherwise they'll just be otherwise occupied. But yeah, Death Nova still not one of my favorite skills. It's just a completely different playstyle than what I want to go for. Though I can imagine a Death Nova build with Devour and with Bone Armor, and then maybe using the Scythe instead of Blood Rush. You can really make an interesting melee build out of it. And if you drop your skeletons and then maybe pick up standalone. No, then you get a massive bonus to your armor as well. And as long as you have less than 10 minions, standalone is actually a win. Though, of course, my preference for the skeletal mages means that most of the time I'm running around with between 7 and 17 minions. So that's a slightly different story.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we please leave this horrible place?
Please leave this horrible place. So, what we get while you walk out. Oh, look. It's another slight upgrade. We didn't have bone spikes, so that's good. And we got a boatload of extra vitality, and as a result more recovery. But we lose some damage, so nope. And here, I don't think the one socket's gonna make up for it, so let's move forward. Hello, Karina.
It was terrible being stuck in there like that. Thank the gods you came along. What are you doing out here?
I am looking for a man who was taken prisoner by the Coven.
The Coven? I saw them dragging someone into Leoric's manor house. Perhaps it was the man you seek. You might have a small bit of trouble reaching there, though. I'm not proud of this, but I stole the staff of a powerful Khazra shaman. The Khazra went mad and chased me to the caves. You can find the staff in my cart in the Highlands. If you take it to the Khazra barricade, perhaps they will let you pass.
Okay, and we have received our next objective.
Belong to the crown.
Look for the Khazra staff. But for this episode, we'll tag the waypoint, which actually has already been tagged. That is very nice. And then we're gonna call this an episode. Because I know the journey through the Highlands is a little bit longer and probably deserves its own full-length episode. So with that, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.